The first time I went to my boyfriend's house, his mother surprised me by wearing a very short skirt and low-cut top, and then asked me to cook. I met my boyfriend in high school. Back then, though we only had each other's contact info but didn't know each other well. Later, we both went to college, but we ended up in different cities. He joined the military, and during his service, we kept in touch, chatting often, and he'd call me regularly. As we continued talking, our relationship started to grow more flirtatious. Eventually, and after he got out of the military, he confessed his feelings, and I agreed. We started dating. My boyfriend was very sweet to me, and always doing whatever I wanted. After leaving the military, he worked in another city, while I was in yet another city working. A few months later, he told me he wasn't happy with his job and was feeling really stressed, and that he wanted to go back home to check if there were any job opportunities there. So, he went back home, and after a month, Gol and I decided to visit him to see him and my family. Every time we met, we were super sweet together. He hated saying goodbye when I had to go back to work, and every time he would cry. It was really hard on me too. So, after some time, I decided to move back home to be closer to him. Once I moved back, I realized he was just staying at home doing nothing, which didn't seem right. I asked a friend to help him find a job. Although it was entry level, I knew if he worked hard, and he'd have a chance to move up. After he started working, we rented an apartment together. At the time, I hadn't found a job yet, so I stayed home cooking and taking care of the house. He gave me all his earnings, and we spent it together. Since I had saved some money from my previous job, we were doing fine. Occasionally, we'd argue, but that's normal for couples. His job was pretty demanding. He worked 24-hour shifts, then got 24 hours off, which meant when he was home, he was mostly sleeping. We didn't really have time to go out or have fun. I thought about asking a friend to help him switch to a procurement position. It was less stressful and paid well. But when I mentioned it to my friend, they said since we weren't married yet, and what would happen if we broke up, and he kept that job. I realized they were right, so I didn't bring it up to my boyfriend. Eventually my boyfriend took me to meet his mom. I bought a bunch of gifts for her. It was the Dragon Boat Festival, including his relatives, including his sister and grandmother, were all there, all excited to meet me, his future girlfriend. As soon as I walked in, I was shocked. His mom was wearing an extremely short skirt, barely covering anything, and a low-cut top, and all while wearing heavy makeup. It was such a surprise to me, and my first impression of her was not great. I thought, what kind of respectable person dresses like that? His relatives were all gathered around, and his mom was busy in the kitchen. It was my first time meeting her, so out of politeness I asked, Auntie, Ellen, is there anything I can help with? She just threw the dish aside and said, you cook. I stood there for a minute, I've had a feeling both angry and helpless. My boyfriend just sat there, silent like a stone. I couldn't argue in front of his relatives. So I ended up cooking the whole meal, making over 10 dishes. I felt so wronged. Once the food was ready, everyone sat down to eat. Letter and his mom started recording a video with her phone saying, oh, it's the holiday, everyone's here. She filmed everyone except me, but I was so upset but didn't say anything. I was so angry that I hardly ate. That night, I stayed at his house and still upset. All that I told him my stomach hurt. His mom said, oh, let me find some medicine for you, but she just said it and didn't do anything, and my boyfriend also sat there and did nothing. I didn't sleep well that night. The next day when we were leaving, Mom gave me a $500 red envelope. In our area, it's customary for a normal family to give at least $1,000. For other families, it's usually $2,000 to $3,000. My friends had all received at least $1,000. Giving giving me only $500 felt like an insult, almost like she was paying me for cooking. I felt embarrassed accepting it, but if I didn't, it would have seemed rude, so I took it. When I got home, my relatives and my mom asked how much I got, and I told them $1,000, because I just couldn't bring myself to admit it was only $500. After we moved into our rented apartment, Mom started coming over often. Every time I had to treat her well, buy fruits, cook for her. I did everything I could, but then, suddenly, she stopped visiting. One time, my boyfriend and I fought about it. He said she hasn't been coming over. Don't you wonder why? I asked. What do you mean? I always treated her well when she came. And what did I do wrong? It was obvious his mom had said something to him, but he couldn't explain. On Mother's Day, I bought his mom an expensive watch. She posted on social media saying, thanks to my big daughter for the watch. He has a younger sister, and his mom always called me big daughter, making everyone think it was his sister who bought it. I was so upset. Whenever his sister stayed with us, I would buy her luxury skincare products and clothes all with my money. Despite everything I did, and I was always left feeling unappreciated. Later, his sister, who had just gotten into college, was quickly swept by her hometown boyfriend. His mom taught her how to manipulate men, how to ask for money, saying that when bringing a man home she should buy gifts, nothing less than $400. I was speechless. How could a mother teach her daughter this way? His mom was notorious in town for having several lovers, and his father, who worked out of town, knew about it but didn't divorce her. One time, my boyfriend was in the hospital, ill, and I stayed with him and his mom. His mom got a call from a man and said she was going to see him, leaving her son in the hospital. That was the last straw for me. What kind of mother does that? Later, I took my boyfriend to meet my parents. According to tradition, how the families are supposed to bring gifts. My boyfriend said he wanted to buy a lot, but I told him it wasn't necessary. Just some fruits would do. He ended up buying a lot of high-end fruits, and my parents thought he was great. Honest and steady. We're really happy with him. My father wanted to give him $400, but I said $200 was fine, so I told him that I received $1,000 when I visited his family. So my mother gave him $200. While at that night at my place, I had my boyfriend text his mom, saying today I went to her house, I want her family gave me $1. I wanted her to know how embarrassing it was to get only $500 from her. She replied, "Oh, of it, you're an adult now." I was furious and my boyfriend said it was a joke. I said, "Who are you kidding? For the mirror, that's not funny." The next day, his mom called and said, "Your sister wants to bring her boyfriend to our house, and there's no food. Can you buy some barbecue ingredients?" I nudged my boyfriend, signaling to him what to say. He understood and told his mom, "I don't have the money, you'll have to give me some." His mom responded, "But didn't your girlfriend's mom give you money?" At that moment, my mother overheard, and she walked away. But I was so mad but had to drag my boyfriend to buy the food. When we got to his house, and then I saw his sister's boyfriend, also a college student, had bought a lot of expensive alcohol. It seemed his mom had really taught him well. During dinner, his mom kept asking about the boyfriend's family situation, income, and other private matters. It was so uncomfortable. We had been dating for nearly 2 years, and we were getting around 27 or 28, so we wanted to get engaged. My boyfriend talked to his mom about it, and she said, "Let's wait until after Thanksgiving." Weeks passed, and there was no update. When my boyfriend asked again, his mom angry and said, "Why are you in such a rush to get married? Just get married directly. Her for family how much the bride price is." I had told my boyfriend before that the bride price should be $48,000, including the rings. His mom said they didn't have that much money. I lowered it to for $45 without the rings, but she still refused. Finally, $1,000, but she stuck to 30. That was furious, and we ended up fighting. When I mentioned the dowry, his mom said, "I'll give you $20,000. That's the most I can do." This made me so angry, and the engagement was called off. During our fight, "Han, do you really want to marry her? Her parents are old, and you'll have to support them in the future." These were words my boyfriend repeated to me. My parents may be older, but that they have pensions and don't need our support. I left and went back to my parents' house, but my boyfriend called me repeatedly, but I didn't answer. He even called my mom crying. She tried to convince me to take the $30,000. It's not a big deal since you won't be living with your mother-in-law. I told her it wasn't about the money. About his mom's attitude. Everyone was urging me to reconsider, and in the end, I reluctant the $30, but felt completely frustrated. "I'm gonna buy a car for us to use, no second-hand car worth $5,000. She complained. "Do you want my life? $1,000. Now a car." Who was expecting her to pay for the car? Seeing my frustration, my father intervened and said, "You'll buy you a new car as part of the dowry." Finally, things calmed down. When we were discussing the engagement banquet, according to tradition, both families were supposed to invite close relatives. His mom said, "Why invite so many people? Have it just your parents." I thought she was being too cheap, and I was done with it. My boyfriend wanted to keep negotiating, but I said, "What's there to negotiate? What if she only gives $10 and on the day of the event? It's over." I was so angry, and even though I was reluctant to let go of the relationship, after waiting for 6 months, I finally broke up with him. He had to pay. It wasn't about the money. It was his mom's attitude. Before we broke up, I told his mom everything I was upset about, but I tried to remain respectful. She had no response. After we broke up, his mom posted a video on social media criticizing Meg. "You're looking for a husband, not a mother-in-law. I'm just trying to help my son." I didn't hold what's wrong with that. I didn't hold back and made my own response video, calling her out for her inappropriate behavior, for cheating on her husband with numerous men, and for not being a proper mother. After our breakup, my boyfriend was heartbroken. His relationship with his mom deteriorated. One time, and she ran into one of my friends on the street and asked if we could get back together. My friend shot back, "When things were good, them up. Now you regret it. Do you think your family is the White House?" I heard she was speechless after that encounter. Since then, I haven't been in a relationship. This whole experience has made me too afraid to trust love again.